Yes, the title of this video is real. I don't understand how iRacing became popular. Now, this sounds absolutely insane to say in 2022, because iRacing is basically the de facto racing sim on the market, and if you want something more hardcore than GT or Forza, you're pushed in that direction. But iRacing had to start somewhere. It didn't just manifest on the market one day with all these different cars and tracks and a highly fine-tuned physics model. I was a teenager when iRacing first hit the market in 2008, and what they initially sold people for the first 4 or 5 years of its lifespan was completely atrocious. It genuinely does not make sense how people actually enjoyed this game and recommended it to others. For what they were charging people and the kind of pricing model they've introduced, which has now been unchanged for the better part of a decade, it was an absolute massive ripoff. If a sim dev came to the industry and tried to ship a product with physics like this, nowadays, they would be laughed out of the industry. So there is this fantastic YouTube channel run by Thomas Lewandowski, who is one of the very first iRacing esports competitors ever, who has uploaded all of his old replays from iRacing esports competitions back in 2010 and 2011, when the game was on what's called the old tire model, the first iteration of iRacing's ever-evolving tire model. I encourage you to go watch some of these replays and see just how detached iRacing was from reality. For starters, I'll throw up this comparison shot between Thomas Lewandowski driving the car of tomorrow versus Daniel Suarez driving the Gen 6 car at Bristol. Remember, these are fundamentally the same car, just with a different body shell over top of it. Check out the wheel inputs. Lewandowski is drifting the entire racetrack and wrecking loose on a straightaway. He can barely keep the car straight. Dan Suarez, by comparison, is turning left to go left and is basically on a Sunday drive, even though there are 39 other cars flying around him. How not a single person for a single sim racing publication or any sim racing community stood up and said, "This is not even close to real life," is beyond me. Another comparison, this is Thomas Lewandowski at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the 2010 car tomorrow, and he is dead sideways throughout all of turns 1 and 2. It's basically driving like a dirt car, but on asphalt, which is not how these cars drive at all. By comparison, an onboard shot of a NASCAR Xfinity Series car, it's a Sunday drive. iRacing's physics remained in this state from 2008 till about midway through 2012. You do not need to be a physics engineer or even have any sort of seat time in an actual race car to realize that something is seriously amiss here. The driver inputs are so detached from reality that iRacing's infamous testimonials page literally doesn't even make sense. There is no way these drivers were using this game to practice when the inputs were so detached from reality. In fact, and this is a great conspiracy to end this on, Dale Jr.'s winless streak from 2008 to 2012, where he didn't win a race in almost 4 years during the NASCAR Cup Series schedule, coincided directly with iRacing's initial launch. Even back then, Jr. was a brand ambassador for iRacing and is known pretty much throughout the industry as a big-time sim racer. He's done this stuff since he was a teenager. So you almost wonder if him binging on sim racing and iRacing's bizarre old tire model at the time had a negative effect on his real-world driving abilities. Anyways, here's Michigan and iRacing back during that exact time period. This guy is drifting through the entire corner. Again, this is a top-level esports driver we're watching. Lewandowski's not a random bum. Final lap of the race, Dale Jr. on worn tires, same corner, same car, it's a Sunday drive. It makes no sense how a game could be this detached from reality for the first 3 to 4 years of its lifespan and not immediately be laughed out of the landscape and instead somehow grow into the powerhouse that it is today.